Good afternoon. It's Valerie here. I'm Valerie Ling. I'm a clinical psychologist. I happened to be the director and founder for the Center for Effective Living. Hi, it's Valerie Ling here. I'm a clinical psychologist. And in my conversations with both my team, my friends, and clients, I believe the resurgence of COVID-19 in certain countries that, we may have thought had it under control. I'm thinking of New Zealand, for example. Now that we see a resurgence of COVID-19, can be quite a despairing, a despondent view of how things are going to be, right? And I'm picking up a sense that because there's some hope that we know what to do, we can have a degree of control. That now that there is a resurgence in New Zealand and in Australia, where I live, in some of our states, we are also struggling with this. That there is a kind of a hope fatigue, a hope fatigue. How do we actually keep up our levels of hope during difficult times like this? And what I would like to say is that there's probably some assumptions that we probably need to address. Number one is we never knew what the nature of COVID-19 and the virus is or was. It's new. It's taken the world by storm. And you and I, probably, if you are the average individual like I am, we don't have all of the scientific or medical knowledge to really fully understand the algorithms of how things unfold. And so we want to, and here's the second assumption that we want to look at, is we want to master a sense of control by getting more information and more data. Now, typically, this is what our brain wants to hold on to because we long for certainty. And particularly in this day and age where information and data is so readily available, we want to get through and go through that data and consume that as quickly as possible to get to the quickest mental relief that we can. If you fast forward to maybe about 20 years ago, the ability to get this sort of information was impossible. And so, what would we need to do? We would basically have to fix our eyes on doing what we know is possible, do the next best thing, the next right thing, and persevere and be hopeful for better tomorrows, right? We would not have been able to get a hold of information or data. And so we may be pushed now, I'm noticing even in our home, to go back to the daily news, wake up in the morning and have a look at the news, anticipating that there would be a macro shift in a micro moment. What do I mean by that? A macro shift meaning something major would have shifted in the 6 to 8 hours that we went to sleep, in the micro moment that we went to sleep. These are not possible at all. So that's not going to be helpful for us. Um, we may be wanting very often, when we are anxious and worried, we're going to seek reassurance seeking. We're going to ask our neighbors, the grocery store person, what they think. And here's the thing, by this stage of the game, people are starting to default to their mental heuristics. You're going to get a bunch of people who are going to say, I don't care, bombs away, I'm going to do whatever I want. You're going to get some people who will say, I've been thinking about it, I'm really anxious, you're going to get a range of responses because by now we are hanging on to whatever sense of control that we can find. And so reassurance seeking is probably not going to be a helpful thing. I think it was this morning, I had the pleasure of eavesdropping. I didn't mean to, but I just happened to, hearing someone at home talk about their favorite movie, which was a revelation to me. And they said that their favorite movie was Frozen, but even more favorite than that was Frozen 2. Because in Frozen 2, I think it's Elsa. I don't know the characters. Am I right? Am I wrong? Is it Elsa, the sister? Not the one with magical powers. Anyway, this character, says my family member, doesn't have any power other than the conviction that she needs to do the next right thing. And that's what my family member was saying. We just need to do the next right thing. So get the best guidelines, get the best information, work on that. Nothing macro is going to happen in a micro moment. Just head for the next right thing. We're going to need a bunch of self compassion for ourselves, therefore, because living in this level of uncertainty, living with this level of shifting goalposts, not knowing exactly whether from today to tomorrow, whether there is going to be a major change in the way that we do life, this is not normal. This is worse than living in situations where you know the danger, where you know the enemy. In this case, there's a lot that we don't know. Self care, though in the past I have spoken a great deal about how self care isn't the solution, the only thing we do for burnout, I think this is different from burnout. I think this is fatigue. I think this is levels of emotional exhaustion that's coming from environmental factors that are beyond our control. And so, yes, we're going to want to cut down on the things that are causing us anxiety if it's watching the news, etc. Yes, we may want to have slower mornings. Yes, we may want to say to ourselves, I don't feel comfortable actually going out. Um, but how can I exercise? How can I meet friends? How can I keep it light at home? How can I have a degree of curiosity and compassion in my world right now? These are some of the helpful questions and attitudes that we can shift into. And I do hope that you are taking care of yourself. I do hope that you are recognizing and acknowledging that these are dynamics that we've never been faced before. And we don't have to have all the answers except to do the next right thing, do the next best thing with the information we have. Right, take care.